right, y'all, let's take a look at this one from the Hill. The Federal Appeals Court is blocking a push to delay the January ban of TikTok. How many of y'all knew about this one? Yep, it's creeping under the radar because everybody's kind of caught up in all of the other things going on in the news with the United Healthcare killing and, typical things with Trump and Biden. But this one, I think, is has the potential to be the biggest news, at least for the first part of the year. I mean, can you imagine TikTok is gone now? This app that has been a big influence on the culture for good or for bad. We've seen a lot of different groups and subgroups sprout up as a result of TikTok. We've seen careers launched. We've seen careers ended. We've seen so many things come from TikTok. But through it all, TikTok has been under fire because TikTok is basically a Chinese spyware app. And that sort of thing eventually reached the attention of the federal government, who eventually, Congress passed a law that said, hey, you got to split up or sell off to an American company the Chinese ownership, or you got to go. You got to get out of Dodge. So this is the dilemma that TikTok was faced with, and they've stood by their guns and saying they're not going to spin off. I mean, they've been adamant about it, and this may be all finally coming to a head this month, and it doesn't look good for TikTok. And we're going to look at this article. You want to stick around to the end because this is crazy, and if you jump off the video too early, you might miss one of these crazy details. So I encourage you guys to stick around to the end. But with that being said, let's get started. It says a federal appeals court in Washington denied a request from the social platform TikTok that would have effectively delayed the ban of the app next month. The rejection comes after the company sought to stop the ban Monday, asking the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit to temporarily block the law that could ban the app next month from going into effect January 19th as it prepares to appeal to the Supreme Court. So TikTok was asking this appeals court to hold off on a lower court's ruling to give it enough time to get to the Supreme Court. But this appeals court said, nah, the ban can go forward. So that leaves TikTok with only a short amount of time to try to get this over to the Supreme Court, which is there's no guarantee that the Supreme Court will even take this. So it gets really dicey from here on out for TikTok. Let's go on and continue to see what it says, because TikTok had a statement. A TikTok spokesperson went on to say, as we have previously stated, we plan on taking this to the Supreme Court, which has an established historical record of protecting Americans' right to free speech. The voices of over 170 million Americans here in the U.S. and around the world will be silenced on January 19th, 2025. So you guys out there, you TikTok heads, mark your calendars. January 19th, 2025, unless, like it says in the thumbnail, unless the TikTok ban is halted. So this is the only thing that can stop it, is a basic stay from the Supreme Court. It says the rule was signed into law on April 19th and requires TikTok to break ties with ByteDance. That's the company that owns TikTok. It's its parents-based company that's based out of China, part of the Chinese Communist Party. So that has to be done. Or, like it says here, some lawmakers have already been told to take Apple and Google from the App Store. So if the app's gone, how are you going to download it? I don't know what that means for the people who already have the app, but there'll be no new way to download the app after the stores are after these apps are taken from the stores of Google and Apple. Says the app had argued that the injunction, which would have paused the ban from taking effect, would permit the Supreme Court to consider the case in a more orderly fashion and give the incoming administration time to delay its position on the exceptionally important matter. And this is code because TikTok knows that Trump has been in favor as of late of keeping TikTok around. It really helped conservatives get their message out, and may have had a large percentage of the reason why Trump was reelected so thoroughly by such a young crowd. If you noticed, college kids went to Trump in a large margin, and who who was on TikTok more than college kids. So this is going to be something that we're going to need to pay attention to because it could have affect a lot of lives. It's going under the radar right now as these things sort of tend to do in lieu of more bloody, for lack of a better word, stories out there, and for more salacious uh, things in the news. But I think this one is going to definitely become a big deal come next year. So you guys, we need to be on the lookout for this. With TikTok gone, I mean, I know a lot of people that aren't too sad about that. What do you guys think? Tell me in the comments below. But I hear a lot of people saying, well, okay, TikTok, it had a big influence on my kid or my wife, or and not in the best way. So there's that crowd of people, as well as those who say that TikTok gave them an outlet. It gave them self-esteem. It gave them an income. So there's going to be a lot of feelings on both sides of this issue, and I think once we get past the new year and we get into the approaching inauguration, this story is going to surface more because they were it was done right before Trump's inauguration, and as TikTok stated, they were hoping to get this to Trump's ear before anything happens. So, not sure where this all goes from here, folks, but it's going to be an interesting one to watch. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. This is Conservative Talk, y'all, and I'll see y'all on the next video.